All right, Larry Kruger here at Los Lomas High School. It's opening day of flag football for my youngest guy, so I'm out here watching him play flag football. But it is over in Dallas, and Green Bay has won 48-32 in a game that really was not even that close. It was 27-0 late second quarter. It was 27-7 at halftime, and it finished up, the third quarter was like 36, or I should say it was 48-16, and Green Bay was up 32 on Dallas before they took Jordan Love out and they replaced him and took out some of their regulars and called off the dogs, and then Dallas scored a couple times late to make it seem closer than it was. But Green Bay just went into Dallas and destroyed the Cowboys. Now, what happened in this game? First of all, great move by Green Bay's coach, I thought, LaFleur, to take the ball first. Dallas had been 10-0 when they scored first. They were 2-5 this year when they didn't score first. So Green Bay said, you know what, you're not scoring first. We're going to take the ball, we're going to drive the length of the field, and that's exactly what they did. So Green Bay jumped on top early. Huge day for Romeo Doubs. He had over 150 yards and a touchdown. Jordan Love is playing incredible football. He's got, 21 touchdowns and one pick in the last 11 games, something like that. Aaron Jones had 3 touchdowns. Darnell Savage had a pick 6. Jair Alexander had a key interception. And Green Bay just dominated the Cowboys. So, the thing about Green Bay, and now Green Bay comes next week to Levi's to take on the 49ers. Let's talk a little bit about Green Bay for a second. Green Bay has got a good head coach in LaFleur, and they've got a really good general manager in Brian Gutekunst. And Gutekunst got rid of Aaron Rodgers, traded up for Jordan Love, and now has surrounded Jordan Love and Aaron Jones with some outstanding skill position guys. Dontavian Wicks, Luke Musgrave, Tucker Kraft, Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson. Just to name a few. They've got a lot of really exciting position player talent. They easily could have scored 50 today in Arlington at Jerry's World against the Cowboys. They got a ton of weapons. He also drafted both Rasheed Walker and Zach Tom, their offensive tackle duo. So they got a pretty good young offensive line. They've got great young position players. Tucker Kraft is a terrific tight end. Luke Musgrave is a terrific tight end. So they got 2 really good tight ends. And then they've got a bunch of receivers. Jaden Reed had 100 yards last week. Today, Dontavian Wicks has been really, really hot in the second half of the year. And what can you say? Romeo Doubs, the former Nevada kid, is a star. Christian Watson is big and fast and has a ton of talent. So they have a ton of weapons right now, and they can score. And Love is playing really, really well. He's poised under pressure. He's mobile. He's got great arm strength. He's smart. He's been developed. They've developed him nicely there in Green Bay. So Green Bay's got a lot going on right now. If you think about everything they've got a young quarterback that's playing well. They've got a great running back who can catch the ball out of the backfield or run it in Aaron Jones. 2 starting caliber tight ends, a whole slew of young receivers. There were a lot of people that thought that Green Bay in the offseason should go after a free agent veteran tight end and possibly add a couple free agent veteran wide receivers. And instead, Gutekunst said, you know what? I'm going to do it in the draft. I can draft wide receivers and I can draft tight ends. And he has done an incredible job. And then on their defensive line right now, first of all, Quay Walker, the linebacker, made like 11 or 12 tackles. He was everywhere. He's a great athlete. If the Niners are going to have success next week, they got to get Quay Walker blocked. That's going to be a major key. And the other major key is blocking this defensive line. It used to be Zardarius Smith and Preston Smith, and that was it. Now they got Kenny Clark, Preston Smith, Carl Brooks, Rashawn Gary. They got all kinds of guys on this defensive line. Devontae Wyatt. Most of these guys were number 1 picks. So there's a really talented Green Bay defensive line coming to town. Quay Walker and Devondre Campbell cover that second level. They've got some really underrated defensive backs. And they got two awesome ball hawks back there in Jair Alexander and Darnell Savage. Now, Alexander's battling an ankle injury, and he did go down in the second game against Dallas with a recurrence of that left ankle. So I don't know his status for next week. That will be something to watch for. But, man, the 49ers better buckle up the chin straps and get it ready because they get no breaks here. Green Bay is a good football team. To me, this was the team that I feared the most coming to Levi's.
5 minutes to play in the game. As a reminder,
5 minutes left in the fantasy game, in the flag football game.
But playing at 5
49ers better be ready next week.
Because
Green Bay can score points,
the Bulldogs.
and their defensive line can put some pressure on you. And they played I'll give Joe Barry credit. I don't think Joe Barry has a great defense, but into this game against Dallas, he confused Dak Prescott. He took away CeeDee Lamb. He played an assortment of different zone coverages in this game, and Prescott never looked comfortable. Now, Dallas is a little bit of a front runner, and we talked about it all week. When Dallas gets a big lead, they can turn a big lead into a huge lead as good as any team in football. But they're not great if you make them play from behind and if you run the ball on them. So the 49ers are an interesting team in that the Niners also are a little bit of a front runner so far this year. You know, they've gone into the halftime in a bunch of games leading, and they win those games. But they've also gone into the halftime trailing 3 times, and they've lost all 3 of those games. So the first half is going to be absolutely essential for the 49ers. I think the game plan might be to play a little ball control and try to keep Jordan Love in this Packers offense, which is right now in an undeniably good rhythm off the field. I think the 49ers can run the ball on Green Bay. I really do. And, I'd like to see Kyle Shanahan keep the ball out of the air, run it a lot with Debo, run it a lot with McCaffrey, run the ball a lot and get a lead and make Green Bay play from behind. But this is going to be no picnic next week because Green Bay comes in. They've won now, I think, 4 straight and like 7 of 8. They're playing really good ball. There's a young, talented quarterback there with a bunch of weapons that he's in lockstep with that's going to come in with great momentum. And if the 49ers get into a game like Dallas did today where they're playing catch-up and playing from behind, it's going to be a really tough game to win, even at home at Levi's. So, in my estimation, this was the worst news of Wild Card Weekend. I wanted anybody but Green Bay. But I knew Green Bay had a lot of momentum going. When I looked at the personnel and their last 5 or 6 games and the job that Gutekunst has done drafting wide receivers, tight ends, offensive linemen, defensive linemen, he's a great young GM. And LaFleur's a really, really quality, good young coach. And Jordan Love is in a really, really good place right now, hot as any quarterback going. The thing that worries me the most about Green Bay, they're so young that they don't realize that they shouldn't really be here right now. So the Niners are going to have their hands full. The Niners will be favored. The Niners will be rested. The Niners will be at home. And I think the 49ers can win this game. But they got a really tough opponent in the Green Bay Packers coming to Levi's next week. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. Thanks to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. Thanks to all you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube. And now back to the last 5 minutes of flag football here at Los Alamos High School. Once again, thanks for supporting The Krug Show. We'll have a little update after Rams-Lions later on tonight.